Hello there, welcome to the Perfume Experience. Welcome back to another fragrance related review. So in this particular video today, I'm going to talk to you about fragrances from the house of Maham. Maham is one of the Indian alt houses that actually has got a lot of niche offerings, and I'm going to try out 5 fragrances from them which are actually quite unique, and they're actually very good considering the winter season because they're woody, they're powdery, and they're a little borderline gourmand as well. And another element with Maham is that they do have fragrances which most other Indian houses do not have. So they have some exclusive dupes that I will talk to you about, and there is going to be a sale because of Diwali, so you can kind of expect some discounts and good offers as well. So I'll give you the details for it so you can just have them checked out as well. So like I said, I've got about 5 fragrances from them, and we'll talk about their performance, how do they smell like, and what are my favorite picks from them, right? So let's get into the video. You're watching the Perfume Experience. My name is Rodney. Let's get started right after this intro. Alright, so welcome back. So I have got 5 fragrances from them, and let's talk about 2 from the house of Amouage. Okay, now Amouage, as you know, is a niche house, and these are basically 10 ml vials that I've kind of got from them, and there are 2 from the house of Amouage that I've got. One is Meander and the other is Enclave. Okay, so let me talk to you about Meander, and and talk to you and tell you what a fantastic this particular fragrance is, especially if you're somebody who loves a fabulous dry down in a fragrance. Then Meander is absolutely fantastic. Okay, so this is the 10 ml vials. Like I said, all of them are 10 ml vials. So Meander is actually got a note profile like that of a little bit of a nutty, you can say a little bit of a spicy, slightly sweet kind of a nuances, because all of these fragrances are like borderline gourmand woody type of a vibe, so they do have that kind of a vibe. So Meander actually has got carrot seeds, it's got a little bit of olibanum, it's got some spicy elements like pink pepper, and black pepper. Then there is a little bit of a floral hint like rose, and there is olibanum again. But the best part is in the dry down, it also has got orris butter, then it's got a little bit of a vetiver and sandalwood. So what you kind of get is a very powdery, iris based kind of a fragrance with a little bit of a woody nuances to it, light hints of sweetness because there is carrot seeds that will give you that bit of a sweety element, and there is iris, so you have that powdery dry down as well. Kind of smells very, very nice. In the opening, it smells very powdery, it smells a little sweet, and a little bit towards a fruity feeling because olibanum kind of gives out a fruity type of a vibe, and a little bit of a resinous vibe because Amouage again is a type of a Middle Eastern house because it is more leaning towards Middle Eastern type of fragrances. However, what you will absolutely get is a fantastic dry down. Like I said, the dry down is simply superb because in the dry down you have sandalwood, you have vetiver, and what actually happens is in the initial, let's say 40-45 minutes time, where you have this carrot seeds, the spicy elements, and the light hints of floral hints playing up, all of those kind of vanish after a few hours, and then you will get this lovely dry down where the sandalwood smells so natural along with the vetiver, where the vetiver is actually kind of moist here. So you get a very beautiful sweet type of a dry down that smells absolutely gorgeous and lasts on your skin for about 6-7 hours easy. Okay, so one of the nicest dry downs hands down. I'm kind of stressing on this because I do love fragrances, and generally it's the opening notes that kind of capture your senses here, but in this particular fragrance it's the dry down that actually holds you, because the dry down is like a lot of other fragrances, top notes, right? So it's something like that. The sandalwood is absolutely wonderful and beautiful. Now this is a fragrance that you can easily wear for date nights and festivities, so that is something that I can easily tell you because of the scent profile, which is sweet, which is mass pleasing. It's a soft to loud kind of a scent. It's not a beast mode loudness kind of thing. It's a soft to loudness, loud kind of a in between, that kind of a bridge gap, where it sits. The projection is very decent and the performance is very good. It builds a beautiful bubble around you, and that bubble stays for a very long time. I absolutely did not think Meander is going to be like this because of that iris note, the powdery note, the sweet notes. This is just fantastic. You should definitely try out Meander if you like a sandalwood and a vetiver based vibe. Next, let's look at Enclave. This is beast mode. This is pretty loud. This is very loud, very beautiful. The surprising part about this particular fragrance is the way in which it opens. Okay, so it's got a very unique kind of a combination where you have a lot of oriental spices like cardamom, cinnamon kind of a vibe, and then you have mint, okay, which is a very, very, very beautiful type of a way of blending this particular fragrance. So you kind of get a very fresh kind of a blue, minty kind of a vibe. Although this is a woody kind of a fragrance, then this has also got vetiver. It's got a little bit of floral notes, and then it's also got a little bit of a leather in the dry down as well. But it's mostly an ambery, woody, powdery, that kind of a vibe, which is absolutely beautiful, loud, like really, really loud, nice kind of a fragrance. Smells very mature, very rich, and something that's super loud in terms of 2 to 3 feet of projection easily. And it's got a very nice sweet vibe to it, because obviously because of the lot of the oriental spices that are there, with the cinnamon and the cardamom that being there, it gives you that nice sweetness. Overall, I kind of like this a lot, because I did not think that a woody combination of a fragrance, especially oriental spicy kind of a fragrance with a bit of peppermint, will be an absolute beast like this. The vetiver on this is a little more drier, I would say, the dry vetiver, and then the little bit of a rose that kind of just is there as a supporting factor. The leather is also a very supporting factor here, because the leather is not at all dominant here. You kind of hardly notice that there is leather in this. It's mostly smelling like a woody kind of a fragrance, but with the predominant note of the mint and the cardamom. Now that's the first part of the nature that happens. Again, this particular brand, which is Maham, also has got a lot of transition that happens, right? So this top notes kind of wear off, and then what you kind of get is a very dry, woody kind of a scent, a little bit of like a powdery element. Mostly woody is what you would say, and that kind of lasts for about 6-7 hours time. The projection is very, very good. The projection is really, really good. It stays for about 50 minutes or so. A very nice strong projection with that nice minty cardamom effect. That is absolutely beautiful. So this is a very nice fragrance to try out if you are looking for something like a celebrations or parties that you want to wear, where there's a woody fragrance but still you get that little bit of that minty vibe. You can definitely try it for parties and celebration. Right. Next, the fragrance that we will talk about is from the house of Guerlian. This is the Vintage Vetiver, okay, which is basically a 1959, a formulation that was then. And what you see today, the Guerlian Vetiver, is slightly different. It's more modern. It's more citrusy. Now, this particular fragrance, on the other hand, is actually got a more tobacco type of a vibe, because this has got vetiver, but then the vetiver is blended with a lot of spice elements, especially tobacco. Then there is a little bit of a nutmeg, there is a little bit of a black pepper, and of course lemon as well. So there is a citrus bitter element that comes into this particular fragrance, and of course I think that there's a little bit of a leathery vibe as well. So overall, I think this is very masculine, especially if you're a fan of vintage fragrances, and if you're looking at something like a vetiver based fragrance that you want to wear for this is something that you can wear all throughout the year. Okay, because vetiver is one note that I feel works very well even during winters and during summers, so you kind of can carry it off very well. This is super loud, so you've got to be careful with the number of sprays that you do, because this is loud, this is spicy and very masculine. So you will easily get about 3 feet plus of projection. Lasting is 7-8 hours easy. Apparels, it can go even the next day. Very masculine fragrance, a lot of tobacco vibe that you get from the open get-go, and the vetiver continues to be there. Eventually, after the 2-3 hour mark, when it goes into the dry down, you kind of get a very soothing powdery vetiver with a little bit of the tobacco vibe that continues to be on that particular note. Scent profile is superb, very high, fulfilling type of a fragrance, because the nutmeg again gives you that kind of a slight nutty, fruity, nutty, sweet type of a vibe, which is little bit later. Okay, on the whole, at the face of it, it's not a sweet fragrance, but because vetiver is taken into consideration, vetiver brings out a little bit of a spicy or a sweet kind of nuances depending on what's it blended with. Now in this case, because it's got nutmeg, it brings out a sweet kind of a vibe along with a tobacco spicy element. Overall, it's a very beautifully done blend, especially if, like I said, if you're looking for a older formulation of Guerlian, then you should definitely consider getting vintage Guerlian vetiver. Alright, moving to the next two fragrances. These are two fragrances I think that are exclusively available only with Maham for now, and they are not available with anybody else. So the first one that I'm talking about, Xerjoff Starlight. Okay, now Xerjoff Starlight is phenomenal in the way it kind of smells. It actually kind of brings a smile on your face when you kind of think about the scent profile, because this is got something very nice. It's got almond opening, so it's got that kind of a nutty opening, but then it's got that bitter element, because almond has got that slight bitter element, but then it kind of smells very nice because of that almond vibe. Almond is basically like like badams, right? So that vibe, and along with this there is a good amount of cinnamon that's mixed, so there's a slight hint of spicy sweetness that you kind of get, which is like very beautiful, supported with I think a little bit of cacao, which is giving you that a cocoa type of a vibe, which makes it even luxuriously beautifully smelling one. And then the whole thing is held together like a very borderline gourmand type of a vibe, which is absolutely fantastic. This is taken even more further ahead by things like cardamom, a little bit like clove, which are again oriental spices. Then it's also got a little bit of an amber and cedar, so it's more like a woody kind of a fragrance, which has got mild hint of nutty sweetness coming from almond, and then of course it transitions into this cardamom sweetness that's there, cinnamon, which is holding all together. Beautiful smell, and I mean it's intoxicating in a way to kind of keep wearing this. This is a soft, this is I would say soft to loud kind of a vibe. It kind of sits somewhere there in terms of its projection. The scent quality is very nice. It's very mild, calming, soothing. I would say this is one of the best date night scents you can kind of wear, because you will be absolutely like something that you will be like, you're a eatable item kind of a thing. You become something like that because of this particular fragrance. It's very beautifully done. And the thing about this is it lasts decently well as well. It easily does about 5-6 hours as well. But the whole scent profile is very good. So Xerjoff Starlight is more of, soft, calming date night kind of a fragrance held together by a nutty oriental sweetness, a little bit of an ambery element, and then of a little bit of a good cinnamon type of a vibe. Absolutely beautiful element. You should definitely try out this particular fragrance, where you don't want an overly sweet fragrance, you don't want a very powdery kind of a fragrance, something that sits right in a sweet spot where it smells absolutely beautiful. Xerjoff Starlight is just one of those. Now the dry down on this particular fragrance is more of the cinnamon vibe that you get, the more of that powdery woody cinnamon vibe, the cedar wood that comes into picture, and slight amberiness is what you kind of get throughout. It's very soft, and it's dry down not as loud as Enclave in its dry down or Meander in its dry down. Very soft, but the entire bubble that it kind of builds is very beautiful. That's why I said it's very apt for date nights. So if you are looking for a Xerjoff alternate and something very different to try out, then definitely try out Starlight. The last fragrance that I tried out from this house this time is another very niche dupe, which is not available with anybody else. Again, this is Vanille Havane, and this is from the house of Indemodables, which is absolutely beautiful. Now this is a very different type of a fragrance, something that I have not tried at all. Very unique element, because this opens with a little bit of a tobacco, it's got a little bit of a rum, it's got a little bit of a cinnamon type of a vibe as well. So it's got this leathery vibe to it as well. And it kind of smells very nice, because the whole thing is held together by a vanilla note, which is absolutely amazing. But it's got this like a pure Havane of Thierry Mugler, that kind of a vibe, which is very cacao. There's a lot of tonka beans kind of a vibe, so which is very unique. This fragrance actually opens with leather, right? So it's got leather as one of its notes. It's got leather, it's got cacao, it's got dried fruits, it's got amber, it's got a little bit of those floral vibes, all of that together. But you from a scent profile point of view, what you kind of get is light hints of sweetness, because there is a lot of vanilla going, there's a lot of tonka beans, cacao going as well. So cacao is basically the chocolate base or the chocolate seed that makes this chocolate vibe, so you have that light hint of sweetness. Then there is a leather. The leather here is slight animalic type of a leather, so you kind of get a very sharp leathery opening, but then it's not that animalic when you smell. It's got that tartness of leather, but it doesn't actually overpower, because the tobacco and the cacao and the vanilla kind of dominate the entire scent profile. At the background, you kind of smell light hints of spices, but along with a little bit of a floral hint, okay, or a fruity hint, so to say. But then that's slightly there as such. But the whole thing is mostly a tobacco, cacao, like a chocolatey vanilla kind of a fragrance, which is absolutely beautiful. I think this is one of those vanilla fragrances that you can have in your collection that will be very unique compared to the other vanilla offerings that are generally there in your wardrobe, especially for winters. Now this is loud, okay? This will make you think like as if it's not loud when you put it on, but then it actually does have a good effect. I put it on and my wife was sitting like on the edge of the other sofa, and she was like, wow, you've got something which is very, very strong, okay? So it comes off as a very powerful kind of a fragrance, especially in the first few minutes. The 40-50 minutes of the opening is like very loud, very beautiful, and then it transitions into a more powdery, drier, woody, chocolatey, earthy kind of a fragrance, which is absolutely beautiful with a light amount of sweetness, light to decent amount of sweetness, just the right type of balance that you get. Absolutely wonderful type of a gourmand type of fragrance, which is very unique. And the brand again is very unique. It's very rarely seen in India as such, to get a dupe of this. So you can definitely try out Pure Havane, which is fantastic, from the house of Maham. Right? So overall, this will do a lasting about 6-7 hours easy, though it goes softer after its 2 or 3 marks point of view, where you kind of get only the cacao and a little bit of the tobacco vibe that you get, and the dried fruits that you kind of get. That vibe continues to be there. The boozy vibe is not the most dominant vibe, though there is rum on this particular fragrance. It's not the most dominant vibe, but it will continue to be there as a supporting character. Smells very unique, beautiful. So overall, I tried 5 fragrances from their house, and these I would say something which has absolutely blown my mind is one is definitely Starlight. Okay, and then of course Vanille Havane is very, very nice. Then between Meander and Enclave, it's a very tough fight for me to pick up, because I feel both of them are very nice. While Meander does not have the best of openings, but the dry down is absolutely beautiful. But I think I would pick up Enclave over that as a more stronger, louder scent, because the peppermint sweetness with the cardamom vibe is something that you can absolutely enjoy. So very beautiful fragrances from the house of Maham, and like I said, they do have some kind of a Diwali discount offers going on, so you can get in touch with Mr. Sarfaraz, who is the owner of this particular house, and get in touch with him and get your orders placed through them, right? So if you kind of like the video, let me know what other fragrances you'd like me to try from this house or any other houses, and I'll see you on another video. Until another time, take care. Bye bye.